The most famous clone of original D&D is perhaps Swords and Wizardry, one of the first clones to be released more than 10 years ago. Swords and Wizardry took a look at everything released for OD&D before the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Player's Handbook came out in 1978 and presented it in a more usable way. It includes as much as possible under the open game license. However, while Swords and Wizardry presented a snapshot of OD&D in 1978, it does not capture how the game looked at its inception 4 years earlier. Delving Deeper is an original D&D clone based on the Little Brown books that were released in 1974, reformatted, rewritten, and presented neatly in 130 pages. It was created by Simon J. Bull and published by Immersive Inc., and it is one of the most enjoyable OSR clones I have looked at so far. The original D&D books are renowned for their erratic presentation and perplexing writing. Delving Deeper is arranged and formatted to be easier to navigate than the original D&D books, yet it still retains a similar style of prose characteristic of those early booklets. The order in which the rules are presented are more logical than the Little Brown books, and the whole structure adheres to the standards expected in modern RPG books. Most rules have been clarified and seem functional, but still some discrepancies are apparent here and there. Some rules are lost in the midst of paragraphs, so one would be advised to read through all the rules to get an understanding, especially of differences to other OSR systems. I found reading through the whole rule set over a week to be a pleasant experience. Getting a glimpse of how the game ran back in 1974 is fascinating, and the existence of many rules in basic D&D or even the most modern versions of the game makes sense when presented in their nascent form here. Many rules will be familiar to those who have read old school essentials or basic D&D, yet I find this book easier to navigate and somehow more inspiring. I particularly enjoyed the sections on wilderness exploration, which was evocative and inspires me for the first time to test out naval exploration. I also enjoyed the monster section, which presents a summary table of all the monster stats, followed by a concise paragraph for each monster. These descriptions neatly summarize the monster's features and special abilities with prose more than stats and abilities. For example, the ghoul entry reads, "Ghouls are eaters of living and carrion flesh. Their attack rolls and morale checks are penalized by -2 in daylight, but the touch of these undead creatures causes paralysis for 1 turn in normal man types, except elves, who are immune. A man type slain by a ghoul will arise again the following night as a ghoul." This summary presents all the pertinent information the DM is likely to need in a ghoul encounter, suggesting a variant encounter in daylight and a future development featuring downed henchmen. Finding small snippets of rules which should be more suitably presented as a table, but instead are written out as a paragraph, are actually a bizarre pleasure to find. For example, room populating, stronghold inhabitants, and encounter treasure. However, a quick reference sheet would be useful, though perhaps creating one's own reference sheet is part of the old school fun. Incidentally, I have found a reference sheet on the Delving Deeper forums, along with additional supplements, adventures, character classes, and errata, which will prove quite useful. After comparing Delving Deeper to the version of OD&D that I have, I can see that there are some small changes in the rules with little explanation, such as saving throw and hit dice values for the different classes. An explanation of these changes would be useful, though perhaps that can be found somewhere else online as well. There is little art in the book, but the few images are fitting and evocative. I like the cover art, which, despite its cartoon style, seems to capture a certain old-school quality. This book is everything required to run the game, and being A5 size, is easily transported to the table. Like the intention of the original Brown books, Delving Deeper provides the tools for the DM to create worlds and adventures with much variation. It is well designed and very well priced. A print copy can be purchased from Lulu, and I certainly recommend getting a print copy. It is a pleasant read even if you never use the system. Considering it is based on the original game, I find these rules give a fresh perspective on running an old school game. Though, I wonder if the rules would not be as easy to interpret without prior experience of later editions, such as Basic D&D, where various rules were codified. The book does depart enough from the Little Brown Books to dissatisfy a purist, but otherwise it appears to be a good representation of 1974 D&D. I would highly recommend this book. Oh, and the Thief is included as an optional class, just in case your players complain too much. The rules for Delving Deeper can be obtained for free, and the print version is about $5 from Lulu. All the pertinent information is in the description below. Thanks for watching.